Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. Today I have a really awesome idea for y'all today. And so this is not going to be something that's definite, but I think that there are reasons that lead us to this potential train of thought, which is that I think that it's possible that Blackbeard might end up killing every single one of the Yonko before the final confrontation between Blackbeard and Luffy, right before it's decided who will be the supreme ruler of the sea, who will become the Pirate King. And so this theory will build off of many other theories that currently exist in the One Piece fandom, but I don't think that anyone has really just jumped to this conclusion that I'll be making in the theory, more of taken each of the individual parts of it as they are, but no one's really taken that next step. So to start off with, we already know that the only confirmed kill of a Yonko so far is at the hands of Blackbeard. Now this is kind of controversial because in essence it was really the Marines who killed Whitebeard. I don't think that Whitebeard was going to survive past the battle even if Blackbeard hadn't intervened and sort of landed the finishing blow. But still we can say that Blackbeard was the one who officially killed Whitebeard. In fact, Jewelry Bonnie, I believe, leads us to this conclusion as well, that she believes that Blackbeard was the one who killed Whitebeard and not someone else. And then finally we have evidence that Edward Weevil also believes that Blackbeard was the one responsible for Whitebeard's death. So that's one Yonko down. Blackbeard 1, other Yonko 0. And so let's go to the next Yonko, Shanks. We're led to believe that there's two groups that were aiming to take on Shanks. One of those was the Kid Pirates and their alliance. But it doesn't seem like the Kid Pirates are really in a position to take on Shanks the Yonko anymore, because their alliance seems to be in tatters and no longer working. And then Kid himself is now in a position in which he's at the mercy of Kaido. There's some reason to potentially speculate that Kaido let him go to send a message to the other Supernova. That might have happened, that might not have happened, but I really don't see a situation in which, even if Kid somehow decides that he still wants to take on Shanks, that he would actually end up killing Shanks. And so the other person that it seems to be targeting Shanks is Blackbeard. He says during the Marineford arc that it isn't time for Shanks and his crew yet, which implies that the time for Shanks and his crew will happen in the future. We also already have some history between Blackbeard and Shanks, as Shanks reveals to us that the scar on his face, the 3-cut scar, was actually given to him by Blackbeard sometime in the past, which would then fuel sort of a future situation in which Shanks and Blackbeard clash again. And we also know that Blackbeard is aiming for the top. He's aiming for the Pirate King. There's definitely no question about that, and in order to become the Pirate King, you would have to put yourself above all the other Yonko, which would again imply that Blackbeard would then want to take on and defeat, at some point in time, all of the Yonko. So I definitely see a future battle happening, either on-screen or off-screen, of Blackbeard versus Shanks. And so if this battle happens, I honestly believe that I think that it's more likely that Shanks will die than survive after this fight. But this would of course have to happen after Luffy and Shanks reunited, because this has to happen. Luffy has to at least symbolically give back the Straw Hat to Shanks, having proved that he is now a great pirate. And so with this being said, I find it more likely that this will actually be an on-screen battle, and the Straw Hats will definitely be present for this battle between Shanks and Blackbeard. And so as I see the story progress, I just honestly feel like Shanks can't be around at the final battle and then be inferior to Luffy. That if Shanks is around, they would be equals. But by the time the end of the story happens, Luffy needs to be the Pirate King. He needs to be above every other pirate that currently exists in the world. And to do this really should mean that he would need to defeat all of these people that really could be competition and potentially sway people's opinions as who's really the best pirate. If there's people out there saying Shanks is the best pirate, then that would probably eliminate the possibility of Luffy being called the Pirate King by the world. That's sort of what separated Roger from everyone else. The entire world believed him to be the greatest pirate, and that's why he earned the title of Pirate King. That's why we have 4 Yonko now, because the entire world aren't convinced as to who is the strongest pirate, and so the crown has not been given to any particular pirate. And I definitely do not believe Luffy is going to take on Shanks seriously in a battle and then defeat him. That's not a situation that I see happening. Luffy doesn't attack his friends seriously. It just is how it is. One of Luffy's greatest strengths revolves around his motivation for each battle. He really cares about saving his friends and the people around him, and this gives him extra juice to go that extra mile to end up defeating an opponent. But if you take away this motivation, which would be in the case if Luffy were to take on Shanks, because Shanks wouldn't then try and kill any of his friends or anybody else, then Luffy would lose a lot of what really makes him strong, in my opinion. So I don't really see Luffy taking on Shanks seriously and defeating him. So I think the simplest solution to overcome this would be for Shanks to be defeated by someone else like Blackbeard, and that for Blackbeard to kill him would be important in regards to the story going forward, so that when the time comes that Luffy defeats Blackbeard, he will then be the lone man standing at the top to be unquestionably called the King of the Pirates. And I honestly also believe this would add a lot of drama and just intensity to the Blackbeard versus Luffy fight that'll happen near the end of the story. If Blackbeard was the one to kill Luffy's mentor, Shanks, then there would just the epicness, the total epicness of that battle would be multiplied multiple times. So then we would have another Yonko down at the hands of Blackbeard. Blackbeard 2, other Yonko 0. And so now let's get into Kaido. Currently there's absolutely no reason to believe that Blackbeard will be present during the arc in which the Straw Hats face off against Kaido. But then again, we didn't really have any inkling that Blackbeard would be present during the Marineford arc to finish off Whitebeard either, so at this point pretty much anything is possible. The only real clues that we have is that Blackbeard seems to be acquiring fruits, and I think that it's highly foreshadowed based on his Jolly Roger that Blackbeard will be able to obtain a third Devil Fruit. A lot of people agree with me about this, and so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I definitely think that there will be a third Devil Fruit. And what's interesting about the first two Devil Fruit is that each of them are considered by Blackbeard to be the strongest of their respective types of Devil Fruit. He has the Yami Yami no Mi, the Darkness Fruit, which he considers to be, and I would assume others would agree with him as well, as being the strongest Logia type Devil Fruit. He also has what's also considered to be the strongest Paramecia type Devil Fruit, that of his former commander, former captain, Whitebeard. So then naturally it would follow that if Blackbeard were to obtain a third fruit, it would be the strongest zone type Devil Fruit. And who could possibly possess the strongest zone type Devil Fruit? Potentially the person whose goal it is to create an entire crew full of zone type users. And then him being the leader of this crew would then possess, potentially, the strongest zone type Devil Fruit. That would be Kaido. Now I know a lot of people believe that the third fruit that Blackbeard will obtain will be the fruit of Marco the Phoenix. And this makes sense on several levels, given that the previous two Devil Fruits that Blackbeard acquired were all from Whitebeard's crew, from Whitebeard himself and from Thatch, and then the third one would make some sense to also come from Whitebeard's crew. But I have 2 points against this. The first point is Marco's Devil Fruit, is it this strongest zone type Devil Fruit? And if you can't say that, then I don't think that we can say that this is the Devil Fruit that Blackbeard will end up acquiring. And my second point is, and this was brought up to me by a subscriber like a week ago or so, but wouldn't it be kind of awkward for Blackbeard to become a Phoenix, that to be his third Devil Fruit choice? Could you imagine Blackbeard turning into a Phoenix? That just doesn't seem to fit thematically. So let's go back to Kaido now. Now obviously we don't know what Kaido's powers are for sure at this point in time. There's lots of speculation. There's speculation out there that he's consumed a bunch of Smile Fruit, which I definitely think is possible, but I don't necessarily believe. A lot of people believe that he has a Devil Fruit, a zone type Devil Fruit that's really strong. There's various opinions on to what this Devil Fruit is, but for the sake of this theory, it doesn't matter. And then there's people who think that he doesn't have a Devil Fruit at all. But as a side note, if you think that he doesn't have a Devil Fruit because of his suicidal tendencies, if he had a Devil Fruit, he would just jump into the sea. I have a video specifically that argues against that point, which I'll link in the description for you guys to check out. But I definitely don't think that there's any argument right now out there to prove that Kaido doesn't have a Devil Fruit. I know that's a popular opinion, and I definitely do not believe that's true. But regardless, it is still possible that he doesn't have a Devil Fruit. I just personally don't believe it. I think the majority of us believe that he has some overpowered zone Devil Fruit, and so for the sake of this theory, it would make some sense if Blackbeard is going to obtain the strongest zone Devil Fruit, that he would obtain that from Kaido, which would imply that Blackbeard would be the one responsible, eventually, for Kaido's death. And so potentially we have another Yonko down at the hands of Blackbeard. That would make it 3. Whitebeard, Shanks, and Kaido. And we only have one left at this point in time. Big Mom. And I bet some of you are thinking, no way, Joyboy, there's no way that you have some evidence that Blackbeard will be the one to kill Big Mom. And if you're thinking that, you're totally right, because I have absolutely no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Blackbeard and Big Mom have any interest in each other other than Blackbeard wants to become the Pirate King, or that they will meet up at any point in time in the story. In fact, I personally believe that Big Mom might get taken out by the Vinsfolks here within the Whole Cake Island arc. But there's a lot of you who believe that Big Mom, after this arc, will be some kind of ally to Straw Hat Luffy, and then somehow be involved in the Kaido arc. And so if Blackbeard is going to be there to obtain the strongest zone type double fruit from Kaido, and if Big Mom is present in there, it definitely offers up the opportunity for Blackbeard to then at some point take on Big Mom as well. Seems crazy to think though for Blackbeard to take out 2 Yonko in one arc, but I'm not sure that Blackbeard really plays by the rules, and that he will actually be the one to officially beat down these opponents, but perhaps he'll be the one to give the final blow. Kinda similar to what he did with Whitebeard, given that Akainu was the one to really beat Whitebeard, then Blackbeard stole his kill. Regardless, I think that there's a ton of evidence out there that Blackbeard might potentially kill all of the Yonko except for Big Mom, and then at this point, Big Mom would stick out like a sore thumb. We should be thinking to ourselves, well, if Blackbeard is going to kill all the other Yonko except for Big Mom, then why not take on Big Mom as well and kill her? And so this is something that I definitely am thinking and agree with, which is that Big Mom being the odd man out, it's very possible that Oda develops the story in the future in a way that will bring Big Mom and Blackbeard together, so that Blackbeard can be the one to kill Big Mom. And thus Blackbeard will have been responsible for the death of every single current Yonko and former Yonko that we know of in the story of One Piece, leading up to Luffy versus Blackbeard, and then Luffy becoming the Pirate King. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, this is a lot of theories here, and so you don't have to believe it, or it's definitely not on the scale of likely to unlikely, is not sitting right there at the end of which is very likely. It's somewhere in the middle, but still I think this is a really interesting train of thought, and honestly would be awesome from just a fan perspective. Having Luffy face off against Blackbeard at the end of the story of One Piece, with Blackbeard having officially killed all the other Yonko. I think that would add a lot of hype factor to the Blackbeard versus Luffy fight. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have evidence to support this or that contradicts it. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you liked the video. I'd appreciate it if you subscribed, and as always, dudes, have a wonderful day.